I thought I'd conclude this section on change with this very familiar figure, I'm sure, for you. Lady Gaga, I think it would be an understatement to say that she's made an impact, and she's here in her various avatars. I'll leave it to you to ponder. This is not a question for your response, but I'll leave it to you to decide. Is she traditionalist, entrepreneur, visionary, or is she in a category all her own? But she does provoke, and she makes you think, which I think is an interesting addition to the general Indian society. Let me now move on to a more practical aspect. What are the tools we need for reimagination? Apple's success and other similar stories underscore the importance of reimagining. It tells us that merely anticipating change and responding to it may not be enough. We may also need to envision new possibilities and translate that into reality. We need the ability to generate fresh thinking, evaluate options, choose a path, and then execute that path. And then if you need to, correct the course along the way. So what are the skills we need to have this capacity? I can think of a few which I sort of encapsulate in this notion of the C-suite. Now, this is actually a term I borrowed from the Economic Development Board. So let me explain to you what the C-suite actually means. The picture shows it, but essentially it is aggregation of the key functions in an organization that are core to its decision making, core to its long-term thinking. So the typical members of the C-suite are the Chief Executive Officer, the CTO, the CFO, the COO, and the CIO. But this is not the only ones. As time evolves, you see different roles coming in. But these are some of the key functions. And so the Economic Development Board goes out to talk to companies, and we say we want to anchor things in Singapore. This is one of the things we look at. How do we anchor the core decision-making functions? Because they make a difference to the way the companies think about the future. And I believe that each of us should have our own C-suite as a toolkit for reimagining that we do, and that we can then translate to reality. So I want to run through what I think are the possible elements or components of this C-suite toolkit. Let me elaborate. The first is creative thinking. It moves us beyond current reality to the realms of possibilities. And creative thinking really requires us to diverge. Not converge, but diverge. We have to generate possibilities, to think of the what-ifs and what could-bes. So it must be a conscious effort that seeks to bring out the best ideas. And the question really that is before us is, are we ready? Are we bold enough, courageous enough to give that amazing idea a chance? George Bernard Shaw said, "Some men see things as they are and ask why. I dream dreams that never were and ask why not." And really, that epitomizes creative thinking. Do you dream the dreams that are not and ask, can they be that way? The next, to bring you quickly down to reality for those who wanted their feet on the ground, is critical analysis. It is an important counterpoint and complement to creative thinking because it gives us the discipline to sift through the plethora of information that bombards us so that we can discern what is true and relevant. It is also a means to objectively evaluate competing ideas. So this means analyzing the data, evaluating the alternatives, anticipating problems, and perhaps most importantly, thinking through solutions as well. So it's a very important component of the C-suite. The third is collaboration. And collaboration is important from at least two different perspectives. The first is across disciplines, interdisciplinary. Today, many of the issues are complex, and the challenges that we face require multidisciplinary responses. If you think of climate change, any solution we find lies at the nexus of international law, diplomacy, economics, science, and of course environmental studies. Biomechanical devices, if you're trying to create an artificial joint, for example, is the interplay between, on the one hand, engineers who are electronics, electrical, mechanical engineers, working with medical specialists, scientists, and sometimes even geneticists. You need this interplay across disciplines, and that collaboration is essential. The other form of collaboration is across cultures. the work, the environment that we are in, whether it is in a social setting, in a work setting, is a very cosmopolitan one. And we work in teams that are increasingly very international in character. You will find this wherever you go. And as national issues are also becoming more cross-border in nature, we need cross-cultural collaboration. And that means we also need to have this collaboration founded on mutual respect and understanding across diverse cultures which celebrate the perspectives that they bring. Fourth is communication. Whether you communicate by email or face-to-face, in person, it is essential that we get the true meaning and intent of our message across. I think in the email, if you put everything in caps, it automatically sends a different tone. You put a little icon at the end, emoticon at the end, it changes the tone again. We find different ways to get this across. But the crux of it is, we must work on this to communicate, to get the key points across, high fidelity communication. And it's not just one way. It's not just for what we put out, but what we take in. What is the response we get, listening and hearing. So it's also about empathizing with the people that you work with. The last point I wanted to make on this C-suite is this point of conviction. And to me, this probably is the core to the whole C-suite. It is a deep belief that you hold. It's born out of your values, your life experiences, and as you grow, as you accumulate more experiences, your conviction may adapt, but it's fundamentally anchored in your value systems. So it's a compass that will guide us through the different choices we have to make. Because after you've done all the brainstorming and generated all the ideas, after you've done all the cost-benefit analysis, or how much it costs, why, and so on, when it comes down to the crunch, why do you choose what you choose? You choose it because it resonates with your values, with your conviction. And that is something that you always have to bear in mind. Einstein put it very well. He said, not everything that can be counted counts, and not everything that counts can be counted. So I think the C-suite is a useful toolkit. It highlights the key capacities we must develop as individuals, organizations, and as countries in order to reimagine our future and be prepared for change. And also to be able to seize the opportunities that come our way, sometimes in the most unexpected way. So that's the C-suite. I just wanted to quickly emphasize, I'm assured by the person who designed this slide, it doesn't mean they have no conviction. It's just in the process of about to tick it. But it's the largest because it's the most significant. And I think we need to keep this in mind when we go about some of the reimagining and the decision making that we do in the future.